It's time to continue Hearthstone Grandmasters here. We had to have a slight interruption there for our next series between Tyler and Staz, just to get Tyler sorted and ready into the game. He likes to keep us on our toes and keen for his next game here. It is going to be... I don't think we got the classes they would go for quite yet, or was it the Rogue Mirror? Rogue Mirror, that was it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we were discussing. We discussed that ad nauseum, I believe, so hopefully we'll get into game as soon as possible, so we don't have to bore you too much longer with our dissection of the Rogue. But looking at what the classes they have left should either player lose, I think I would put it actually fairly even. The Demon Hunter for Tyler definitely feels like it pushes him in a pretty good spot, but the Mage feels like it could let him down at the same time.
Yeah, I think the big question mark for me is actually the Warrior versus Mage matchup. I haven't run into that a lot because I couldn't tell who I think would be favored, but it seems like one of the ones where Warrior could actually fizzle out on threats because it's not like Mage is in any rush to like get them down low and they get punished by the Risky Skipper Armorsmith turn. And it's not like the Mage builds boards that are particularly clearable by that same package. So I actually feel like maybe that's where the Mage could shine most.
Yeah, I think the one way that the Mage could struggle, or I suppose two main ways. One is that they don't have especially good answers to Death Rattle minions, so a big Egg play or a big Terran Gorefiend play may be enough to push them out. And also it feels like they're very weak to the OTK potential that we saw from Tyler against the Priest earlier on today, where he went for Corcoran Elite, double Inner Rage, Rampage, plus the Bloodsworn Mercenary for a 22 damage, absurd lethal combo. Mage, I feel like, also is going to be fairly susceptible to that, given that they are relatively low on taunts, I think it's fair to say.
It's a fair point. And it's also worth noting that you bring up a great point about the death rattles with the eggs and Terran, and I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing some players bring back Polymorph into the Highlander list, which has kind of fallen out of the lists in recent metas, but in Tyler's particular list, I believe it's not actually there. It was in Flurries, though.
Well, maybe he'll be hoping it was, if it comes down to that. But again, first of all, we can finally get into the Rogue Mirror now. Everything appears to be present and correct. So Tyler, once again on the Highlander variant, starting off with a Skyvateer. It's not bad at all, especially as he's on the play. He just wants to kind of curve out, I think, and try and draw through to his power cards like Togwaggle and Galakron.
Right, and we call this the Highlander Rogue with the spell package. The stealth package. But actually, there's not that many stealth minions. I think it's actually just the Skyvateer Spy Mistress, and the only payoff card is the one Greyheart Sage. And it really speaks to how we define packages, I would say, because it's so hard to box Highlanders into any one specific category. There's versions that include these three cards plus the secrets. There's some that include the secrets without this. And we've gotten to a certain point in the meta where we're so just hooked on defining decks that we need to talk about even just 3-card differences. It really changed how the game pans out.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there's also the Escape Mana Saber, but that, comes after the curve of a Greyheart Sage. But I think I agree. I would definitely hear out a discussion that it's not worth playing these at all, because I have rarely seen Greyheart Sage actually work out and draw the 2 cards in a list that doesn't run a Karma or, double up on all the stealth cards.
Definitely. Every time you've seen Greyheart Sage played so far in today's matchups, it's been just the 3/3.
Yeah.
A singular 3-mana 3/3. Better than Edwin.
Yeah, speak of the devil, what is this garbage that Staz has found? A few different ways he could try and play these coming turns. I would hear out, at least, coin Edwin on this turn. I think it's probably wrong, but there's some consideration for it. It looks like he's probably instead going to set up for some kind of Seal Fate and then start stepping the Lackey for a big Edwin. Would make the most sense to me.
Well, he could go for the Edwin on this turn, this upcoming turn. You're just stepping Edwin itself, but I feel like maybe it's worth it just to get the big minion this early.
So would that equal an 8/8 Edwin? Oh, that's much better. You could even step the
Ambusher. I actually know. But
I'm pretty sure it's a 2-drop, yeah.
But with the draw of the Pharaoh Cat, that looks absolutely nuts.
So many options.
So 4 cards played before Edwin goes up to a 10-10 boy. It's just a question of whether Staz wants to trade up into the SI or possibly take a value trade on the Farrakhan. Tyler, I think he knows what's coming. That is the posture of a man who is about to get Edwin.
It is the absolute last thing he wants to see. But what can you do to stop it? He's just got to hope he draws something a little bit more powerful off of the Skyver tier or the natural draw, but it does look like the best thing he can do is just Bone Wraith and then trade into the 2/2 stealth, the 2/2 poison.
Yucky, but you're right.
Gross.
I'm actually curious about Staz's decision to trade into the one. Tyler's like, alright, what do I do? Because Staz trading into the Skyver tier immediately gives Tyler the draw. Whereas I'm not sure Tyler would have wanted to trade it off to me anyway. Guys, don't even listen to me. Just watch Tyler. Much more entertaining.
He's so salty. Oh my god. He was even messaging me in the break like, did you enjoy watching me suffer there? And yes is the answer actually, Tyler. I quite enjoyed it.
You said that on stream. And I said I don't want a narrative, and that's how I dodged the DM, I guess. But I mean, I cannot blame him for this reaction, especially factoring in the previous series where he only got wanded into Galakron Crumps, but also Pyroblasted to the face.
Oh, he even gets to go face here because of the Restless Mummy, and then he has the perfect curve of Boom Pistol, Boom Pistol.
Scammed, illegal, disgusting. Next game. Okay.
Okay, well...
Let's try to find the out here. It's gotta be Sap with something, right?
Or Zephyrus, right? It's Highlander Rogue. There's that's why you're playing it, is for Zephyrus.
Right.
Not this.
Not those.
Probably you just take Dragonbane, because it's something you can play on this turn, but in the end, Tyler says, you know what, the only chance I actually have of winning is high-rolling on the Bandersmosh for Deathwing? I don't even know.
You know what? I'm on board. Because what does the Dragonbane even do? You can't even get that until turn 6.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dragonbane might have been better there just for the most stats you could throw down on this turn, and then his best out is still just Zephyrus.
Is it though? The only difference in stats is 1 health on the underbelly. He even gets
maybe. Yeah, fair.
And that's a Jiraxxus.
A 10-mana Jiraxxus.
I can't watch. Okay.
Well, there's no way to connect the Edwin face.
Exactly. Unless he gets a perfect Lackey. I imagine the turn still starts with Seal Fate, does it not?
I would think so too.
Unless he's looking to get exactly Restless Mummy again?
Even if he gets Restless Mummy, he can't afford to dagger, so he wouldn't be able to get the Edwin face. So I think I agree, I would rather Seal of Fate first.
True. Or he's just looking to play another bully. Sure, this is completely valid too, because it just locks out a Galakron or a Sealmod from
Yeah. This is probably much better. Yeah.
And
pretty much locks out Zephyrus as well.
Are you still enjoying watching Tyler suffer? I mean, Staz is my
getting a bit
teammate,
painful.
And I can hardly watch this.
It's getting a bit painful now. Hey, I thought Tyler didn't include Karma in his deck list, and yet there it is, managing to sneak its way in no matter what.
Well, that was painful.
Yeah, Edwin may have dodged another one, but Tyler unfortunately could not, as he goes down to a very
cruel venture.
Very swift loss there. Not really much to say, to be honest. I'm quite glad we haven't had too many of those games so far, where it's just you say you just got. Nothing that can be done there for Tyler. Just next game. Now he has to try and find a counter to the Rogue, of course, with his remaining decks of, I believe, Demon Hunter and Mage, given that the Warrior was banned away. And up against the Rogue, Demon Hunter, Mage, I think I'd probably rather go for the Demon Hunter, all things considered. Mage feels like it has a decent matchup against Rogue, given that you can scam out some of the cheap spells. And who knows, maybe I'm underestimating how good it is in the matchup. But I feel like going for the more aggressive approach, trying to get underneath all their value rather than outclass it, is probably the better way to go.
I definitely agree with going for Demon Hunter. And just to put things all in context, yes, that game was very unfortunate for Tyler, but we did talk about queuing up Rogue first because you wouldn't particularly sad to lose it, I think, in this in the way the lineups are built for this match. So
That's
I
true.
think that Tyler is still in with a shot. Demon Hunter definitely, with a start like that, could get a lot of work done.
Incredibly aggressive start. Staz throwing away one of the Pharaoh Cats, which I guess makes sense. You have the one for turn one, and then you want to look for a little bit more of a curve.
Right.
But I wouldn't have hated going for maybe just even a double Pharaoh Cat on one to just absolutely try and lock down the board.
Does it really lock down the board though? If Demon Hunter is playing their Battle Mages or even Battle Fiend, it just seems to line up very well against the Pharaoh Cats. I
Fair
quite
enough.
like keeping just one.
It opens you up to take it out with the weapon, but I guess one does that anyway, so you may as well just go for the one.
Wow,
That makes sense.
One drops galore for Tyler here. Wow, and the Umber Wing.
Yeah, I like the Battle Fiend a lot. There's always some consideration against Rogue to throw down your weakest one-drop first, because it's the one that's going to get backstabbed. But I think I would rather take the risk that they don't have it and get a really buff Battle Fiend. Because even if it dies, you just play a Blazing Battle Mage, which is kind of better in a way anyway.
Right. Pharaoh Cat already played down for Staz. The consideration actually is whether he wants to coin out a Praise Galakron immediately to prevent, he knows will be a value trade, whether it's using just the hero power or the Umber Wing. I actually didn't hate that.
I actually like holding off because the way that it dies is in the form of, well, aside from I-Beam, which I think is unlikely, given that it would have to be exactly on the left-hand side or drawn off the top, is it comes to Twin Slice plus something else, in which case the extra one attack doesn't do much anyway, if you see what I mean. Whereas if the Battle Fiend trades in, you can just take it out with the hero power no matter what.
So I'm seeing your point about Twin Slice. I guess it depends on how you view what the more likely outcome is. I feel like the value trade is the more likely outcome. And in that case, even if you use Dagger to take it out, suddenly you have any Praise Galakron targets. Whereas if you get the Galakron down immediately, you at least have the Lackey as a target for the second one, possibly.
I guess with the way this shakes out, you can go Dagger on 2 and then coin Worshipper into Lackey, Praise, Lackey, whatever, on turn 4.
So there is still a curve here.
Yeah.
Definitely not wrong what he went for. Just not sure what's ideal.
Fair.
But keeping the coin for flexibility, I'm never totally against that.
Yeah, and I think just given that the super punish was Twin Slice, which is a card they would happily keep in the mulligan, I like not taking that risk.
Fair. Okay, so it will... Ooh.
Okay.
Backstab. I wonder if he actually just holds off on the backstab, given that the dagger gets rid of the 2/1, and he's still got the devoted for the 1/1s. You don't really want to stab a 1/1.
I mean, I kind of wonder if he holds off on everything this turn, because if he goes crazed on 4, he then gets to go coin Carter into Kronks, or the other way round. It does make his curve a little bit smoother, but then you could make the argument that he will get enough value off of all the lackeys from Praise Galakron.
I mean, it's a very idealistic play, I think, to hold off entirely, because that assumes your opponent won't have a good play on the coming turn 4.
Also, good point.
Because then you're kind of locking yourself into playing Devoted Lackey on turn 4. And let's say they get some of a Satyr Overseer start. I guess
Fair
it's not
enough.
that bad still to play the
You have
Devoted,
backstab as well.
Backstab.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm selling myself onto your... wait, that's not the right phrase. I'm getting more sold onto your play the more I think about it.
No, G, just keep going. Just dig that hole. Dig that hole.
Is this how I die?
I guess I'm being steered like traffic. You could say I'm trafficked onto your point of view. No, wait, no, take it back.
The fires of vengeance burn bright.
Job's done.
Staz ultimately did point out the devoted maniac there. It's a pretty good lackey, but nothing to benefit off of it with just yet.
I really like starting with the praise. You find out what your lackey is, you can backstab, and potentially rush whatever lackey you get into the other one. That's not great, though.
He could praise again. I don't hate it.
Okay, I don't hate that either. Again, you just always have the backstab.
I wonder.
Yeah, don't see any reason to go for dagger here, so that's the good one. He can
That's
now
the
full clear
fantastic one.
without having to use backstab at all.
I wonder if it's worth it, though, because, I mean, there's a few different lines you can go for. Would you rather save the shadow step or the backstab? Probably the backstab.
You could have saved both, but actually
sure,
this line
yeah.
I think makes the most sense. Saving the rush lackey instead, knowing that he's gonna have better minions to rush in the coming turns. There was also a line there, I think, about that's possibly like using the kobold, rushing the kobold, and then immediately stepping the goblin lackey, so that the next turn he could go for shield and rush the shield, should there be a development for Hyler. It's a tough turn. But ultimately, it still panned out well for Staz.
Yeah, it's worked out very nicely considering how aggressive Tyler's starting hands were. Or starting hand was, I should say.
I will act as your scale dragon.
And it's a bit awkward now for Tyler. I mean, I guess you just go Chaos Strike plus Raging. Yeah, that works out fine, actually.
Ultra
Keep the damage
hand,
rolling.
although this is the least altruistable hand I've seen. And for Staz here, he could just flick this away if he wanted to. Doesn't seem like it lines up particularly well against Cartoons. From Staz's perspective, of course, so
Should you just flick?
that's what I'm looking at. It might
And
be
then you
too
can go
greedy.
Kronk's Rush next turn.
Many options.
I think I like it. I think you want to save, like... It's kind of a delicate balance, because they can obviously go over the top of Kartut if they find Metamorphosis, but as it currently stands, I think you want to save Kartut for a little bit later, because it's not only losing health that you're afraid of at the moment, it's also potentially losing board, is I still think a real possibility.
Yeah.
So going for Flick for the highest board swing, or the strongest board swing, I think is the way to go.
I also just think that it's the best way to guarantee that no more damage from the board is going to his face here. So if he plays down Kartut, it's punished by, as you said, Metamorphosis, but beyond that, also Kane. That one could be potential disaster, because then the 4/4 gets to cash in as well.
I mean, also Warglaves are pretty devastating here, just Warglaves hero power.
But on the flip side, it also means that if the Kartut needs to be powered through, at least he's getting the healing in before a Metamorphosis is developed. It's hard to say.
It's a weird turn here. There's the potential to go Altruist Umberwing I-Beam, which does allow for the 4/4 to go face, of course. But it's a bit awkward.
Yeah, what do I beam in that situation? Isn't the Kartut just dead?
Well, the 3/4.
Oh, so before trading with the...
Yes, yeah, and then you can go face with the 4/4. But this puts the most attack on board, so it's almost certainly better.
So now he's got Flick. Man, it's so awkward now.
Secret, Blackjack, rush it into the 4/1.
I feel very hesitant to actually sap this Glavebound, because it
Yeah,
can
of
come
course.
back for another 4.
So I guess then you could sap the 4/1, but then you're not killing the Glaive-bound Adept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awkward no matter which way he slices
The
it.
door hit you.
And this is why I was a bit more in favor like last turn. Granted, he can just rush. He can just rush this. It's gotta
Choose
be good. So rush the blackjack into the... Oh, double taps. Okay.
Don't let the door hit you.
Yeah, just going on the absolute maximum damage mitigation plan possible. Looks like he's holding back the Goblin Lackey, which I think is wise to go with the Kronks on the next turn.
There's
Oh.
the Goblin Lackey already activated.
That was almost definitely not correct.
And double.
Yeah, I don't like committing the Goblin here now that he's got 2 minions that he'd much rather rush.
Right, and if he was going to do that, he should have obviously rushed the 2-1 black. Oh, sorry, the 1-2 blackjack, and then evolved that afterwards. Yeah, I think he just got a bit rushed there at the end.
Yeah. Tyler's turn. No hesitation. Just clocking him in the dome.
No surrender. No lackey left behind.
You are too late. His return is nigh.
So it could be the twin slices for 5 damage, 6 for the hero power, Gravebound for 10 total.
Or altruist, if there's something cheap off the top.
This is already at least as much as the Gravebound would get.
That's got to just be lethal, right? I mean, yeah, like you said, at the very least, it just completely obliterates the board.
It is not.
Yeah, it's so
lethal,
close.
But that just gets rid of the board. And now Staz has to rely on Galacon, but it is, I think, the full version.
Well, let's see
So-
what he's got. It's going to have to be a very, very impressive swing here for Staz to pull things back at just 2 health remaining. But let's see what he's got.
Goes up to 7. But he knows the Gravebound is in hand, so there is just lethal on the other side. Even if the board is cleared. Tyler's expression.
Well, that locks out the Glavebound.
But how does he deal with the Altruist? Wait, he's got the Blackjack. Secret Blackjack?
He can sap. He can bounce the blackjack and sap both.
Right. Wait a second.
He can survive. He can actually survive.
He can. That's insane. No harm in starting with a Pharaoh Cat, of course, it's 0. But yeah, dirty tricks. Blackjack, step Blackjack, play it, boom pistol bully.
Yeah, it's expensive as all heck, but it may just work.
I mean, Staz knows that the Gravebound is in hand, so he knows he has to do this, but it's not out yet for Tyler.
Yep.
It's gotta be some draws, like Metamorphosis.
Door hit you.
That's an out. And Tyler, with the anticipation when he sees this bully. Is it only Metamorphosis and Kane? Wait,
That's lethal.
lethal!
That's
It
the
is!
exact lethal out for 10 damage,
What?
10 mana, perfect lethal.
Oh my god!
Whoa! Tyler's like, all right, you know what, universe, you owed me that one, and I think I can agree with that. One game of peace now. The equalization for Tyler. He's, I think he realizes how stupid that was.
And Tyler's expressions really just make this series have a whole nother layer and a whole nother dynamic.
Yes,
just
the
like-
the ogre of Hearthstone series, I think they call it. Yeah,
So
it's
that puts them at 1 apiece.
That's right. It's been a fun series so far. I always like watching Tyler, and he is, I don't know what it is. He draws some kind of energy from the universe and always invites the craziest series. But that does mean, of course, that in Last Hero Standing, he gets to cue the Demon Hunter again. So now, Staz on the other side has to find a strong counter. Given that his Demon Hunter was banned, I believe he's now left with Warrior and the Highlander Hunter as his 2 remaining classes. I would have to guess that he's going to go for the Warrior here. I feel like it's probably got a bit of a better matchup than the slightly more... less flashy Highlander Hunter that relies just more on curving out, and Demon Hunter I think preys on that quite heavily.
Correct. Highlander Hunter being, I guess, what people would consider a mid-range deck, and Demon Hunter being aggro deck, we could just default to our basic rules of aggro beats mid-range, mid-range beats control. Of course, it's not that simple, but in this case, I definitely do agree that you should play the Warrior because it is any deck you want it to be. It could be aggro control, mid-range, OTK, whatever you like. And in this case, it will definitely be filling the role of control versus the Demon Hunter.
Yes, very probably, at least at the start of the game. It feels to me like the things you want to be doing are going for risky skipper as soon as you can to sweep up that board. Obviously, finding the weapons in Anchor, Livewire Lance, Corsair Cache, ideally, to just sweep up the board. It's a little bit of a different list from Staz that we've seen from most of the players. It feels more like the traditional, quote unquote, despite only being like a week old, no hands gamer warrior, which runs the 2 imprisoned Vile Fiends in there, which, I've got to be honest, I think will work pretty strongly in Staz's favour, actually, just having an extra 2-drop he can throw down that will fight back pretty nicely against his starting board.
You make a good point about something being traditional, even though it's just a week old. That's the kind of way that GM metas shake out. If you're even just a week behind, or even a few days behind, honestly, a list can be obsolete, and that could be your downfall.
Although
So
I've got to be honest,
ancient.
this looks like some high-tech stuff, as Staz throws away the Inner Rage and Bloodsworn, but I mean, if you looked at the curve there, he had the perfect curve, right, of Coin Vile Fiend, it activates on turn 3, and then he goes Inner Rage, Bloodsworn, and gets 2 rushing 4/4s, or 2 rushing 5/4s, sorry.
Yeah,
Felt pretty powerful.
that is weird to me.
Fires of vengeance.
There's no sugarcoating it from my point of view, but
Yeah, I think that's just wrong.
I mean,
I also don't like not
also the
pointing out the
turn
Vile
one, right,
Fiend.
right.
Yeah.
Vile Fiend immediately, and it's not like he didn't have a turn 2 play. He had Egg, and if that doesn't get answered, he had Terran.
Exactly.
It feels a little too slow, this opening play from Staz, whereas the Mulligan feels like a missed opportunity for sure.
I would definitely agree with that. A couple of very interesting plays now, though. Corsair Cache is always fantastic on 2, and it gets even better when you factor in the Dread Corsair that Staz was able to generate on 1 off of the Sky Raider. But then on the other side of their hand, ignoring those 2, you've got Serpent Egg into Terran Gorfiend. Isn't that just the nuts with this deck?
It might just be that little bit too slow. I could see the Serpent Egg into Terran Gorfian not panning out that well. Generally, I'm in favor of getting the weapon just so he could answer the Battle Fiend before it gets too much damage in there. And the Dread Corsair probably just pushes him over the edge.
Tyler lets us know that as soon as Corsair Cache is drawn, that's a fat L. He does not think he's going to be winning this series now.
I don't know, he shouldn't count himself out just yet. So the live wire
Also
lands.
missed 1 damage. Weirdly enough there from Tyler, but sure.
Minion with his face, right?
Oh, sorry, okay, sorry, yeah. Doesn't matter. Didn't overkill by 1. Gah, what a noob.
Blood and plunder.
Alright, so Tyler can clean this up pretty easily with Kane, or he could choose to
Go
develop...
face.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, we can go Kane in all face. That's what I'm looking at here.
That also works, but I could see it being potentially disastrous. Because if the Kane gets removed, suddenly Staz gets to value trade and maintain a taunt on the board. But,
My man. My
Alright.
man.
Fair enough.
This is a play I can get behind. There's, I guess, a few ways to punish it from Staz, but they're all a little bit slow. Like, if he goes value trade on the Battle Mage and then Witchy Lackey, he gets a 5-drop, which is obviously insane in terms of value and tempo, but it doesn't clear off the Kane, most importantly. He could then attack and Warmaul.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking at. Seems quite strong. He does tank the 3, but he'll be on board with the Warmaul and a 5-drop. Granted, it probably doesn't do much in the face of Metamorphosis, but I don't think Staz can put Tyler on having that. And it'll then Probably come down to looking for an armor smith off the battle rage. We'll go for the evolve first. Makes a lot of sense. Unless he doesn't even want to evolve, and just make sure you have a taunt on board. Anyway, the faceless lackey is pretty good pressure also.
Sure. Wow, he's not evolving either. Oh, he just gets another taunt. Of course he does.
But does it matter with Metamorphosis? And the Warglaves?
So what's the play? So Metamorphosis this turn, and then Warglave's hero power triple hit is not lethal next turn, right? So you probably want to go Warglaves, attack both the minions, attack face down to 8,
Right.
and then that potentially sets up lethal if he doesn't hero power, although that's unlikely to work out.
I like the sound of that. And it doesn't have to be a 2-turn lethal anyway.
Yes,
Like, Tyler's
yes.
basically full health. And as long as he gets rid of these taunts and gets some damage face, at some point the Metamorphosis will get there. It's also got Chaos Strike to shore up weapon damage if he needs it, and Altruist as a backup. So Staz needs to find Armor Smith and Risky Skipper. Seems like one or the other just isn't enough here.
Yeah, and just hero powering alone here feels like it really hurts Staz. Maybe he'll make the decision of, you know what, if you have Metamorphosis, I'm not winning anyway. That feels really risky, though. I think he'll probably end up going for, like, hero power, Serpent Egg, Witchy Lackey, or something like that.
I'm looking at the Battle Rage. I feel like we
Really? Okay, wow,
need
sure.
Armor Smith.
Oh!
I don't know. You could still technically hero power. I just don't see a world where playing minions actually races Tyler, so I'm defaulting to looking for armor here.
Right.
Looks like Staz's first instinct too.
I must choose. I wonder.
So looks like he's instead gonna go for your development.
Is he going for
plan.
Bloodsworn Battle Rage? Oh no, wait, he fits in the hero power. Okay, I thought it was
Yeah.
full greeding it there. Okay, Altruist just the tiniest bit off. The only thing that Tyler needs to be afraid of is Armor Smith, and I think he only needs to be afraid of it in combination with a Risky Skipper here.
Staz could do it though. He's got 3 draws with this Battle Rage. Is it gonna be Rampage?
Okay, he's at 8 cards, so he can draw with the Battle Rage and not overdraw, so you probably just start with that.
It's gotta be the Skipper and the Smith. One or the other will not do it. That's a whiff. That's another Rage, but if he plays it, he won't have the mana.
Won't have mana.
So he's trying to generate it off of the Faceless Lackey? So in that
I
case,
guess.
aren't you supposed to
He would have
rage
to draw first.
Yeah, get
but he
the
doesn't have hand
Skipper.
space. He doesn't have hand space.
Well, it's exactly getting the Skipper into generating Armor Smith at this point, right? So
So
you're
he
gonna
should just
take
do it
the
anyway.
one. That's what I think.
Oh my god. Okay, so the play is Battle Rage for 1 card, overdraw a bunch, get the Risky Skipper, generate
Armor Smith.
generate the Armor Smith off of
That's
Faceless.
That's
Sure.
the out I see there. It sounds stupid. Probably
It sounds very stupid, I agree.
0.001%. But can you think of any other out?
No, I don't see anything. Even a taunt there is just unable to keep Staz alive.
Tyler, absolutely relieved to see that it is not available to Staz, and now he only has to get a win with Demon Hunter versus Highlander Hunter. And
Whoa.
honestly, I'm favoring the Demon in that one.
Yeah, I think that Tyler is looking to be in a very good spot in this series. I will say that while I think Tyler played that, very well, it was a pretty standard game, nothing too flashy he had to go for. I suppose the Kane turn was the only real big decision point for him as to whether he starts trading or goes face. And I think he made the right idea by just pushing everything face as quick as possible because he realized he was starting to lose on value. But I will say that for Staz, I think we can both agree there were some alternate lines he could have gone for that maybe show a little bit of misunderstanding of how the warrior deck should be played and what you're looking to do in the optimal scenario.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it all just boils down to the mulligan. After that point, again, turn 1, we had some questions, I think, as to whether to point out the egg or play the Sky Raider. From every turn onward, I don't disagree with what Staz did. So once he settles on a line, I think he can find generally the way to commit to it. But I'm not sure if the line itself is correct, which maybe is arguably a bigger problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could also make the argument that the line we were advocating for of coin Vile Fiend into Battle Rage, Inner Rage plus Bloodsworn was too slow. But honestly, I don't even think that's a very strong argument. I think it's still a really quick play that allows you to lock down the board pretty much 100% come turn 3.
I would also agree. In any case, that hand for Tyler is 2 weapons more than I would like to see if I were the Demon Hunter. But at least the 2 minions he does have in hand work very well with what he's got.
He's going to have to go full Machamp rather than Machoke in this game if he wants to be taking it down with these weapons.
So the Scavenger's Ingenuity, I think this gets Zixor most of the time because the Diving Griffin's already in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is. Seems like a great play onto the board. Honestly, this is actually one of the hands that might be able to stave off pressure from Demon Hunter. Because if the way the pressure forms up, a bunch of Umberwing minions and the Satyr Overseers, then the Unleash the Hounds actually gets really good.
It's actually a really tough choice as to whether or not you swing here, because the argument could be made that you're going swing here, swing on 3 with the Satyr Overseer, and then coin Warglaives on 5, so you don't want to waste a charge. But by holding one back here, it potentially means that you are overriding a charge if you go coin Warglaives, but it also gives you the flexibility to just go Fell Screamer on 4 instead. So I think I probably just about prefer this line.
Yeah, I can see it. Fell Screamer synergy with the Satyr Overseer, of course, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And for Staz,
yeah, maybe it's coined out.
This is... I mean, it looks tempting to Unleash the Hounds here. Just because after this, most of the minions probably have more than 1 health. And the Hounds don't get to trade 1 for 1. But a 5/7, I didn't realize just how big the Scavenger's Ingenuity buff would be. That's insane. That's definitely the play.
Yeah. Ooh, and that is definitely the draw, right? I think I like Satyr Overseer, smack into the Zixor with your weapon, I-beam trade.
Yep. And then Staz will have to respond with the Unleash the Hounds, trading 2 into the Satyr Overseer, but probably not too bad.
Yikes. I guess. It does give Tyler full initiative onto the board, though, and Fell Screamer into Warglaives. That is a lot of damage.
It really is. To be fair, though, Staz could kind of go toe-to-toe with the board for this turn and next turn. After that, I don't know. Because now it's going to be Hounds to deal with the 4-2 and 1-1 and play the Battle Mage. And then the next turn is probably going to be the Diving Griffin. Oh, never mind. I guess the Hounds are being saved.
Yeah, I guess he wants to try and draw 6 or Prime. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess whether that comes down now or later doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. I don't know. I just couldn't see the board going that much wider for Tyler in that instance.
Well, it makes the play very easy for Tyler, if nothing else, because otherwise he would have, of course, been left with just a 2-2, which might have had to trade. But now with the 1-1, he's able to clear up the board, push the 2 face, get down the Fell Screamer.
So that's something for Staz here, because using the Hounds just to deal with the 2-2 looked very, very unattractive.
Yeah, it did.
So you could just get something like an Evasive Worm for next turn. Spellkin, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Alex Strauss is active, but do you even get to turn 9 in this matchup?
So what are your next few turns? You need to think, what am I doing next turn? Maybe Unleash the Hounds is the answer, but it's looking a bit dry. Yeah.
I do think it makes more sense there. Luckily for Staz, he has the Ooze for the first Warglaives. What about the second? Nobody expects the second Warglaives.
100% like clearing up here with the weapon and pushing the rest face. And even getting the swing to face. You just want to push the maximum damage here. Oh, yeah.
Ooze isn't even that great because of that.
True. Oh,
It's far too clunky.
clunky hand.
So it's gotta just be Ooze and Hounds, right? Deal with the 2-2. Hope that nothing is developed on the other side. Try to get Tiamat down.
If you're in that bad of a position, are there any god tier 1 cost spells that you can generate?
Arcane Shot to deal with the
Yeah,
2-2. Best one.
I guess that's fine. That probably is the best, hey? Yikes.
So in that world,
Side-
you probably do just play the Cobalt for more development on the board. It's like a 3-2 versus 4-4 with no weapon. Or a 3-5 and possibly just a 4-4 with a weapon. Maybe the Ooze is just better in that case.
Tyler,
oh,
I don't think... Yeah, just doesn't really care at all. He can equip the second Warglaives, take it out, keep going face. It's looking really powerful.
Yep. Spectral Sight now on the far left as well. So if he ever somehow runs out of juice here, he's got the refill.
He'd rather play the Spectral Sight and get one more damage to face. Sorry, he'd rather play the Runner, sorry, not the Spectral Sight.
This makes Tiamat a bit more awkward.
I guess so, yeah. It's fairly likely to stick. I don't hate it at all.
And if Staz
That's an out
had
with
just
Staz.
the one more turn.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He just needs some kind of healing, really, which only comes, I believe, in the form of Zephyrus.
Agreed. So in most cases, you would take the Tiamat Rush.
Rush Divine Shield. Divine Shield Taunt. Is that good?
Maybe it is
It's
the
not
Divine Shield
bad.
Taunt.
Yeah, it's like a little bit awkwardly shaped, at least as it currently stands for the board to deal with. Obviously, Chaos Strike would just deliver very swift lethal.
But for Staz here, you're hoping for best case scenario. Because
Yep.
middle ground just doesn't get there. That's lethal. GG.
Easy peasy lethal.
Tyler advances through the elimination and is now going to try and face. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. Is it Flurry?
Yes, up against Flurry after Kin got through to the top 4 already.
Right. And
Even with a bit of
Very
BM
sad
thrown
to
in there
watch
as
for
well.
me, of course, as Staz he made 10 falls short in the top 8, but still
Yeah.
walking away with 3 points each week. In theory, still puts you ahead of half the field.
Yeah, I think Staz is in a perfectly good position here to get top 4. If he can get, to get into Division A come the round robin, if he can get another top 8, I think he'd be, if not guaranteed, in a very, very strong position indeed. It's just interesting that he seems to be doing pretty well in the Swiss portion both weeks. I believe last week he was actually 3-4 and came in 8th place on tiebreakers. So last week it was maybe not the most impressive performance, but this week, 2nd seed coming into the top 8, only losing out to Surrender there, looking very, very strong overall. But again, just falls short twice in a row. Maybe it's playing on camera that's giving him a bit of nerves. I don't know, but something's not going right.
Yeah, I would also assume so because we did home in on some very specific plays that could have maybe cost him a game or even a series. But if we look at preparation, he's obviously done a great job. Lineup that's used by the number 1 seed as well, and also I think was positioned quite well for LHS because he had good matchups as we were going into games. Like we were thinking, yeah, this looks good for Staz. It just doesn't quite follow through on the execution so much as in the theory.
That's exactly it. It's when you get down to the nitty-gritty, you're on camera, you start stressing out that the discrete differences in your play really start to become apparent. But that does mean that with with Staz out of the running, don't know why Tice popped into my mind. Staz out of the running now, we can take a look at the bracket to see what our next match is going to be. Who is in with a chance of getting through to tomorrow? Flurry versus Tyler. both of whom have now lost to Kin as he sailed through in first place. So the two players who could not defeat Kin, I wonder who out of those can beat each other, given that these are, interestingly enough, I think the two players out of today to bring Highlander Mage, which is not a very popular deck overall. Maybe we'll get to see some mage on mage action. If nothing else, you're always guaranteed some fireworks.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And in certain countries, fireworks are actually banned for noise pollution and also just environmental pollution. And I believe that if Sottle could run a country, and if fireworks means Yogbox, it would be banned in his country.
A confused analogy, but one I agree with there, Gia. As I think, hopefully, we do get to see that. As you know, we had a lot of very dense, very decision-heavy matchups, which obviously fantastic. That's exactly what we want here in Grandmasters. But we also like a little bit of razzmatazz thrown in there as well. So that does mean that we are done with that series. Staz out of the way, and we are going to jump into our next series, I believe, after a short break. So while we give Tyler a little bit of time to prepare for the upcoming match, we're going to come right back after this short break for the final match of the day.